All right, guys, do you hear me now? I need to check the chat more often, my bad. Audio good now. Okay, perfect. Yeah, my bad, guys. So I guess I have to repeat everything. All right, let's get pretty much what I'm watching for is this in here, right? Dollar yen. So let me go first to the daily time frame. Every single time when I go for, I'm just gonna repeat everything because I don't know if it cut off it right away or what happened. But every single time when I go into a new day, I look automatically on the daily time frame to see can I find a potential bias on the daily time frame. Right, not always we're gonna have it, but sometimes we will. So right away, what do I see? I see that the fact that we have this really big push up, and if we draw the swing from swing high down to swing low, we're pretty much at the 70, so we're pretty much at a resistance point. We're also at this inversion point in here, and we had this prior low. So right now, this is kind of reversal territory. Now, I like the fact that we do have this fair value gap that was created. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish this candle closed below that high. We kind of closed above it. So that's why I'm kind of hoping. I'm gonna wait to see what happens in Asia, but ideally, I still like this. I do like the fact that we have this breaker point, we have this fair value gap, and now we're above into this area. So ideally, we have rejections here to come down into that daily fair value gap, which would put us below yesterday's low. So yesterday's low is 156.53. I would also just watch the rejection blocks in here, the bodies of these candles, just because I want to make sure that the marketplace, because sometimes what happens is you hit that rejection block and then you're like a few pips away from your entry, from your TP, and then the market has a reaction. I've noticed that happens so much in my trades, so I usually just always target the bodies of the candle, and then even if I miss out on a little bit more, over the long run, this is just better for me personally. Um, so yeah, and so that's what I'm watching for on dollar yen. Now, indices. The problem with indices right now is we've kind of just sold off aggressively, straight from yesterday, to be honest. It's kind of unfortunate because I really did want to look for these sells during the New York Open, but I was busy and I had a couple errands to run, unfortunately. So I kind of missed. I was waiting for like a pullback back into this area for a rejection. We got that rejection, especially because on the daily time frame, we just looked like we were going to sell off. And to be honest, depending on how NFP looks, I do think don't be worried if you didn't catch any sell opportunities this week on indices, because in my opinion, if we close like this is going to be an easy target for next week or the next upcoming weeks in February. So that 66, 50, 50s area, I think we're going to head down here on ES, and on NQ, we're kind of already like almost near these lows, around 23,896. So there's still room to go down. I just hope that I kind of hope that tomorrow we don't just completely sell off. But these are still my two downside targets. I do think NQ is gonna head down near term, 22. I'm sorry, 24 290s, and then this ultimately this low in here, 23 900s. So if we go to the daily time frame, maybe we have a little bit of a pull up and then maybe drop lower. But yeah, I think ultimately though next week is a pretty, unless this candle somehow flips on NFP tomorrow, which I just can't see happening, I think this is going to head much lower. So if you missed any sell-off this week, again, there's no need to have FOMO. This, in my opinion, is even better. I even talked about it at the beginning of the week. If we have a nice down close candle like this to kind of indicate displacement, it would kind of confirm this SMT that we have here on ES and NQ. So ES, I like this one a lot. Next week, open, rally, and then drop. And again, we might, who knows, we might just get that going into tomorrow, if I'm being honest. Um, yeah, like there's a very good chance that we might just kind of rally and then sell off on NFP. But you guys know I don't trade NFP news. So if that happens, unfortunately, I'm going to have to miss out on that move. But yeah, this looks really good though. I even there's a nice volume imbalance as well on the daily. So a volume imbalance is you see the buys of the candles right here. This is like when there's no closure of any candles, this essentially served as like a gap. So there's no need to kind of get any FOMO if you didn't catch any of this move down. In my opinion, we still have a lot of room to go to on the downside. Like how much points is this on ES? Like let's just say, hopefully we don't just tank straight off the open on NFP. But even this is 130 points, right? Like this is a really good solid move in here. So I'm personally, I still like this overall framework. I think we're gonna absolutely rip to the downside. So no need to have FOMO. Um, yeah, especially if we close below that low, it's like primed for the next candle to displace lower. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, no NFP this week. I forgot government shutdown. I apologize. So actually, you know what? So um, tomorrow this actually could still like I'll say this. I would look for sells at this prior low. So that 68.15s, definitely look at that area in here. Let's go down to the 1 hour. Maybe there's a fair value gap. I do think if we can kind of retest this area in here, that prior low and some around this area, I would honestly look for intraday shorts, and then I do think we're going to absolutely sell off. Now, can we sell off overnight? I'll be honest. The way that the markets have been looking, especially on Bitcoin, I can see us possibly selling off in Asia as well. I could definitely see us selling off in Asia on indices. A little bit more like my line in the sand is this. I do not want us to see a closure above here. Like any closure above 68.36s, that would not be ideal. I want to see this bearish order block, which is also this prior low, be if we retest this area in Asia, I want us to reject. I don't want to see any like reclaim, right? I don't want to see bullish price. I don't want to see like a strong bullish candle like this. I don't really want to see that over here. I want to see us stay heavy and then kind of just sell off. Now, do we get this in Asia? I don't know, but we'll see. If remember, Asia session is 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern time, and my one rule for Asia session, right? So Asia session, 7 to 9 p.m. EST. My one rule when I get it, if I ever get an entry in Asia, right? Okay. My one rule for Asia session. It's very simple. Close by 11 to 12, 11, let's say 11 p.m. EST. If the trade is not massively in your favor. So like, let's just say hypothetically around 7 to 9, the market rallies up into this area and we reject, right? And then maybe you can look for like a lower time frame entry or whatever the case may be. You do not want the marketplace. Okay, let's just say this happens around 7 to 9 o'clock during our key time window, right? If this happens from 7 to 9 p.m. EST, what you don't want to happen is the market goes in your favor and then like maybe we start to consolidate. And then once it goes into 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock midnight, you don't want the market to consolidate near your entry, because what happens is this opens up when you have the midnight opening price, right? This can actually then this leaves the room for London session to manipulate higher, because we know that's going to happen. So like look at a perfect example last night. Last night, look at how we dropped down in the Asia session, right? And imagine you were able to catch a short position in here. Like let's say maybe you got a short right here, right? This was around 7 to 9 p.m. EST. Beautiful short. The market made lower lows. Look at how once you get closer to 11 to 12 o'clock, look what happens. The midnight opening price was right here, midnight. So whenever you get close to the midnight open and you have like some sort of like, and the market's kind of like near your entry in here, right? You sometimes have this manipulation move around the midnight open to essentially clear any stops of anyone who entered a position in Asia. So you want to be very mindful. Also, like there was a 1 hour EBP on this one yesterday, right here, 1 hour EBP, and then you had the bearish fair value gap on the 1 hour. This is actually a nice long setup, but if you're short because you got the short on the 15-minute or the 5-minute or whatever the case may be, and then you don't get that continued move down going into 11 to 12, you want to be careful because you're going to have a pullback more than likely as some sort of manipulation move. Now, in this case, it respected the bearish fair value gap, but sometimes it can rally, take out the Asia range high, and you just don't want to do that. If you're in profit, you could just take profits and then always look for a re-entry. Again, assuming that the market is not like is not significantly in your favor. So like let's just say this drop happened here in Asia and then we just continued lower. And then by the time midnight open is like this, you know, we're significantly in profit. You can typically hold the position going into London in the event there is no pullback. So small little there's a little bit more advanced stuff, but during session open, you're going to typically have some sort of manipulation move, which is why you always want to be careful when you're holding a position. So good question, right? So like honestly, man, I always just use ES and NQ because the price action is going to be the same on this one. Now, the broker that I personally use, right, on the CFD side, it's identical to the ES and NQ price action. However, if you go to any CFD broker, it's not going to be the same price point. Like, let me like okay, so the broker that I have right now, let me look. So right now, right, NAS 100 on the broker that I'm using, I'm just looking at the price quote. It's 24,335, right? This is 24,439. So there's about 100-point discrepancy, right? For me, I don't really care about the number. I always just look at the candles and the price action. So the broker, again, that I'm using has the exact same price data in terms of how the candles look. So if you're going to trade with any CFD prop firm, or let's just say any CFD chart from a broker, you want to make sure that the candles mimic the futures contract. Because again, the futures contract on NQ and ES is going to be the same across every futures broker and every futures prop firm. So that's why I always use these for my analysis. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, because unfortunately there is a discrepancy on the CFD side. I don't know why, to be honest. I have no clue why, but yeah. Honestly, at this moment, I'm not really sure. I'm gonna again right now. That's why I'm just doing everything on YouTube and Telegram, because it is a commitment, to be honest. But if anything, if I ever open that up again, I'll probably let you guys know inside of Telegram. But yeah, guys. So I would honestly, I would tell you guys this. I am interested in trading Asia session. So yeah, remember. So the plays are very, very simple. Maybe I don't even know NQ. This is my first objective, 24,297. Hopefully there's a little bit of a push up first, right? Maybe into this 4-hour bar low. But ES I think is a little bit more. Yeah, ES was the one that has the prior low. Might not even get there, to be fair. We might just drop initially. If we create a fair value gap on this 1-hour candle, that would be nice as well. I don't think we're going to get a big move up, to be honest, because this just looks heavy. So that's what I'm going to be mindful of. Also, dollar yen. If we can kind of have a clear rejection around here on the hourly time frame, if we invert this bullish fair value gap, I'll be interested in this as well. So I'll set an alert just in case that we break back below. Taking a sell up here full position is a little risky. You can always take like a small position, wider stop, and then the way I like to do it is if we break down below and I get a confirmation entry, then I could look for it. But I'll be honest, I like indices a little bit more, especially if we create this 1-hour fair value gap. I think we're gonna sell off in Asia. If we get this 1-hour fair value gap, this is a small doji candle, and then down to 24,290s as a scalp target on NQ, and then possibly, let's see the daily time frame. You know what? The daily time frame has this rejection block in here, so 24 112s, roughly 24 110s. Let's call it. So these are my two downside targets on NQ. Again, this will probably set up an Asia session, just based off my experience. Oh, actually, you know what's funny? I was actually looking for this one for shorts, but it just kind of moved right away. I want to see this 1-hour candle. Same. Okay, by the way, so same exact thing I just talked about NQ. You see how we have this? It looks heavy. It's the same thing I want to see on NQ. Look at the structure looks very similar. I'm glad you brought this up. Right? You see how this 1-hour candle came in, retested that prior low, and then now we're starting to expand to the downside, and we have this clear fair value gap in here. We have this big order block as the opening price. So I do think we're selling off on gold as well. But we'll see. Hopefully NQ does give that setup. If not, it might just like fade off, to be honest. But I'm also, again, so I'm watching NQ, watching ES. ES is already starting to push lower, but again, there's no point of chasing price. Like, you're better off waiting to see if there's a fair value gap that forms. Because if you chase price, like, where's your stop loss going to be, you know? Where's ES? The downside targets on this one. Clearly this low. And then down to this potential fair value gap closure. Yeah, so these would pretty much be my downside targets on yes. It's right there. It's kind of just selling off straight off the open. But again, man, it tapped into this 15-minute fair value gap, so maybe that's all it needed to do. But yeah. But I would still watch for like a 1 hour manipulation move back into this as a fair value gap if it gets created in the next 39 minutes. Okay, let me just talk about DXY, and then after that, I'm going to call it a day. DXY, I don't know, man. Like, this is why I say, like, I don't like taking trades once the market sweeps major liquidity. In my opinion, it's all going to be determined what happens here because, see, like, do you want to keep buying this when the market is approaching resistance? Not really, right? Because now we're inside of a premium. So this could easily set the stage where it drops a little bit. Now, again, doesn't mean it's going to drop all the way down to make new lows. No, because this could just be a run on stops, theoretically speaking, and then this could just start to invert at some point. That's why I don't like to take. I like to take trades when the market forms like a confirmation like this, and I have a fair value gap that I can trade into, right? Like you see how this weekly candle you see the push up. We talked about it as well at the beginning of the week. I want to see euro to come down into this prior high, and I like to see this when the market sweeps liquidity, and then we come down into support area. Now, do I want to buy euro right there? I don't know. I have to wait for a little bit more confirmation on the daily time frame because based off the daily is just bearish structure. Now, tomorrow, maybe we have a candle closure above here, and now I can target this fair value gap. You see what I mean? Like, I need to wait for the candles formation to happen in order for me to get very comfortable with a trade idea. I don't want to just buy this. Now, if I had to guess, I'm still bullish on the euro, especially if we retested this prior high at that 1.1767s, but I'm not going to buy this level. I need a strong daily confirmation. So, yeah. But yeah, guys, pretty straightforward analysis. You guys can, yeah, this might just sell off to be honest, but we'll see. Even dollar yen starting to sell off as well. So we'll see if there's a nice trade on this one as well. 37 minutes until the next candle, but yeah. Pretty straightforward analysis. Remember, downside objective on dollar yen for me is 156.59s. Because again, I don't want to risk the market tagging this rejection block and then having a pullback. Because sometimes what happens, again, you target a low, the market does some shit like this, then you get a big pullback, and then, it goes like that. I hate holding through this. So I usually set my TPs around the rejection blocks. But appreciate it, guys. And yeah, they do. So Apex is I know Top Step you can still trade MGC. Apex, I think they probably got rinsed, to be honest. Too many people making money. Nah, because the thing is this, man. I've asked, people have asked me, like, can you just like stay on the streams? I'll be honest, I'm just gonna be very, very blunt. I don't want to, I'm not a scalper. So for me, like, these trades take hours to play out. Like, look at the AUD JPY trade that we talked about last week, right? I'm sorry, it was actually the beginning of the week. Look how long this trade took. This was from the Asia session from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. I'm not trying to be on stream for 5 hours. The analysis is the analysis, and then usually I'll update on Telegram because everything is pretty straightforward in the analysis. But yeah. Guys, appreciate you guys for hopping on. Asia session looks like there's gonna be potential movement, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, now if we just start to sell off and stuff like that, and there's no pullback, then you don't want to chase it. Don't be the person who's chasing at the lows, because if you chase at the lows, at some point the market will have a rip up in terms of a pullback. You just don't want to get caught in that. Plus, the risk reward is not as great when you chase at lows, especially when the market's hitting major levels. So these are my support levels on NQ and ES that I think we're going to head into the downside. ES is almost kind of like right there, but again, kind of waiting for a pullback. Best bet is honestly, if this doesn't happen, to watch to see something here on dollar yen. But yeah, guys, appreciate it. And yeah, as always, I'll keep you guys updated inside of Telegram, and peace. I'm gonna go ahead and have some dinner.